Good morning, everybody. Today, the agenda for this class is Entity Relationship Model. I am Dr.Ignisha Rajathi. I am here to present on the topic Entity Relationship Model. So, the objectives for today's lab sessions are we are going to learn about Entity Relationship Model and how to build an Entity Relationship Model, and then most importantly, how to apply the cardinality and participations correctly. And then finally, we are going to just implement this particular ER model in the form of ER diagram using Lucid Chat. Okay. So with all these four agendas, let us enter into the class. Whenever we start with the developing of a database, the steps are think, design and draw. Okay. Similarly, we are going to follow the same steps, and other version is given as requirements analysis, conceptual database design, logical, then schema refinement, physical and application. So, inside this conceptual database design, our ER model fits in. Okay, so this is the important thing we'll have to store in our mind throughout this lecture. So, what is an ER model? Actually, basically, E stands for entity, R stands for relation. Okay, so what is meant by entity? Entity is nothing but name, place, animal, thing. When we were small kids, we would have learnt all these, right? So, all these, be it a person or a system or anything, everything comes under entities. Okay, and collection of these systems or these people or these entities will be forming entity set. And then, what is the connectivity between two entities? This will be given as the relationship. So, all these will be depicted using entity relationship diagram. Okay, this can be otherwise called as ER model or ERDs. Okay, based on the symbols which we will be seeing shortly, all these are discussed. Okay, then the definition which I gave you is right in front of you. So, what is an entity? Any real world object distinguishable from other objects, and then entity set, collection of similar entities, and here we have strong entity and weak entity. Attributes are very important part of entity. So, when you are considering a particular entity, what are the characteristics of that entity? So, all these comes under attributes. Okay. So, when we are considering the term attributes, it refers to the property or characteristics. Okay. So, here we have descriptive, then simple attributes, composite attributes, derived, multi-value and single valued. Okay. For example, derived attribute will be when we are giving our date of birth, age will be calculated. That we can take it as a derived attribute. Then with multi-value and single value, multi-value we can take example as phone numbers. Okay. So these are the properties of attributes, and here comes the symbolic representations. And then one important thing is that whenever we are specifying an attribute for a particular entity, if you can identify a specific object in the entity set using any single attribute, we call that as keys. Okay, so if there is one attribute that is identifiable, that is primary key. If it is not sufficient that with one attribute we cannot identify a particular record, means we are going for combination of attributes, and that will be super keys. Okay, then the minimal super key which is used to identify a particular record, we call it as candidate keys. Okay. So, when there is a connectivity between two different entities, and when one particular entity is being referred by another entity which acts as the key to the next one, that is foreign key. Okay. These are the different types of keys. Then cardinality. Cardinality means one-to-one relationship, or one-to-many relationship, or many-to-many. These three important different types are there for cardinality, and the representation is given in this way. Okay, in the ER diagram, we will be following these symbols of representations for expressing the cardinality. What is the meaning of this? One particular attribute, one particular object from one entity gets connected with one particular object of another entity. This is one-to-one. What is one-to-many then? One particular entity gets connected with more than one entities of the next entity set. We call it as one-to-many, and many-to-many, vice versa. Okay. Similarly, we can see vice versa. Next comes the participation. So, what is this participation? When all the entities available in the entity set are connected to all the entities which are available on the second entity, we call that as total participation. That is all to all. Okay. But what is partial participation? It is not that all the entities are connected. Only a few entities, limited entities are connected with the entities of the next entity set, means we call it as partial participation. See, this is the way. So, employees are listed as one entity set and all the employees work for department. This is total participation. But at the same time, when you're considering employees, the department will be managed by specific employees. For example, head of the department, program coordinators, is it not? So, this goes with partial participation. Okay. Next, what are the uses of entity relationship diagrams? Database design, troubleshooting, business information system, process re-engineering, education and research. Most important thing I want to tell you, when we are going in the real world, when we are going to implement something, if there is a flaw identified in the implementation phase, there is a recovery of the flaw only when we when we backtrack towards this ER diagram in the conceptual design. In the first slide, I told you that this comes under conceptual design. So, when we identify the connectivity, the rectification can be very easily done and the implementation will be troubleshooted properly. Okay, this is the very important thing I wanted to tell you. Lucid chart. Okay, this is where we are going to implement and see this ER model. There is a very short video guide for you and the link is provided. And also the simple knowledge of ER diagram is also given. I have presented this to you and here comes the task. So you have to create your own account in the link which I have provided. And then there is a screenshot, try to follow that. You have to create your own document space and then click on the UML and a blank UML template will be displayed and you can proceed. So here the editing area, the workspace will be seen in the format which is available right in front of your eyes. Okay. So in this you will have to drag and drop the symbols whichever is necessary. Okay. Right. So the tasks, activities are, I am giving you 3 sets. First one is easy content. Okay. So which is an easier pace. You have to understand, analyze and draw the ER diagram in the lucid chart. Then the next one is the moderate pace. Okay. So you should have a triggered thinking. This is the second part. And last one is the slightly little more triggering is necessary to activate your brain and give a proper presentation of the ER diagram using the lucid chart. Okay. The 4 agendas which were discussed earlier have been completed now. Thank you so much. I am with you. Whatever doubt you have, you can ask me.